I want to thank everyone for taking time out of your busy schedules to spend this hour with me tonight and to learn something more about these two great products, Restore Silver and Restore Vital. I know that many of you will have seen my live presentation when I was in Gothenburg a couple of months ago. For those of you who were there, I want to say that I hope that this will be a nice refresher and will also give you a bit of new information. For those of you who are new to the products, I'll welcome you again and tell you that I hope that I present you with some good information to help you know more about these two great products. And please know that we'll have a question and answer period at the end of my talk to give you a chance to get any questions answered that I didn't touch on the information for you while I was speaking. So today we're going to talk about Restore Silver and Restore Vital. I hope to share with you some information about how my business partner and I came to create these two great products, and the story about how that came to pass, and the science behind the products, how they work to help our bodies function so much more beautifully, and then also how the products work in conjunction with and synergistically with all of the other great products in the NHT Wellness line. And I believe if I just do this, that I should have control of the screen. Let me see if I do. Yes. I think you probably heard a little bit about my background. I'll just say that I have been in love with working with botanically based medicines for 3.5 decades, and find that it is just a beautiful way to help people to experience more vibrant health and help to give the body what it needs to make beneficial changes to help us feel better and better. And my background includes both Eastern and Western forms of herbal medicine, as well as manual therapies, and my practice for 3.5 decades, 35 years, has been to work with people both physically to help them optimize the way they're able to use their bodies, and also nutritionally and supplementally to create health from the inside out as well as the outside in. Used a variety of tools to do that, all of which have served me well in helping to formulate supplements to help our bodies work even more beautifully. In the process of this practice of mine, I had the opportunity to work with a really lovely man named George Brody. And years ago, George came to me and he said, "Lyle, I can't tell you how excited I am. I'm going to be a grandfather again, and my daughter Brundy is having a son, and I'm very excited about it." And so we celebrated that event, and then the next time he came in, he just was sad, and I asked him what was going on, and he said, "Well, my young grandson, whose name is Knut, was born with lots of health issues, and we're just not sure what's going on." So as the months went by, George would come in each time to see me, and he would tell me that of the latest report from Brundy, who lives in New York, and how Knut's health was just continuing to be very fragile, and was just very concerned. Grundy, who had a very successful career on Wall Street, stepped from that career in order to dedicate herself full time to trying to find out what was going on with her son's health. Over time, she found that she just wasn't getting great answers from the medical community about what was happening with him, and began to do research on her own, trying to determine what was going on. He was getting several diagnoses that turned out to be mistaken, and ultimately he learned that she learned that his little body was not producing enough of a very critical enzyme that corrects where we place calcium in our cells and in our bodies, and that this was one of the central issues going on, not the only issue, but one of the central issues that was going on in his body that was affecting his health so dramatically. So fast forward, George presents me with all of Grundy's research that she had done, asked me if I would work with her to help her understand how to find something botanically that might help stimulate Knut's body to produce more of this important enzyme. And so Grundy and I began working together to look for a solution to this problem, and over time, and looking at over 100 different plants and constituents of those plants, we were able to determine that the very best botanical ingredient that we could use would have wonderful benefits in stimulating the body to produce more of this enzyme. And in the course of that research, we learned that while this was a very rare situation for someone to be born without the ability to produce enough of this enzyme, that we all begin to produce less and less of that once we reach a certain age. And in that realization, came to understand that what we had done with this research was to uncover a need that is much more widespread. Really is a need that everybody in the world has, and that is to have a way to help the body to produce more of this important enzyme, and in so doing to reinvigorate our lives and our health. And that brought us to an understanding that we really needed to create a product with these botanical ingredients at the core of the formulation, and to help to get that product in the hands of as many people as possible, in order to help people to feel better and to be more invigorated in their life. That realization brought us to a conversation with several companies, including NHT Global. And as we got further along in our conversations with NHT, we realized that their philosophy and the approach to doing business and their guiding principles of creating wonderful health products and bringing them to their membership was just so perfectly in alignment with ours that we made the decision to enter into a relationship with NHT Global, and we did that in 2010, and it's just been the most marvelous experience of both of our lives since that time. It has given me the opportunity to travel all over the world to make these kinds of presentations to people, to help teach them about good health and about how Restor Silver and Restor Vital contributes to that good health. I've had the opportunity to travel all over Asia, to China and Hong Kong and Thailand and South Korea. I've been in Russia. I've been in Hong Kong. I've been most recently to your lovely country of Sweden, and just shortly thereafter to Ireland. And in all of those places, I've had the opportunity to meet with people just like you and share this information to help you bring the opportunity for greater health to yourselves and your family, and to people that you know and love, and also to use these products as tools to develop a business that you can feel so confident and comfortable about, because it's built on bringing good health to people that you know. Let's see if this will move again. Click this one more time. So we'll begin by talking about the first product, Restor Silver, and the science behind that product. We'll build from there as we talk about Restor Vital. Restor Silver is the first of the products that we created, the first formulation that we created, and it is a product that we were able to create and successfully patent as the very first, and still the only, other than Restor Vital, the only nutritional supplement that has been specifically formulated to target and stimulate the body to create more of this enzyme that I have been mentioning, calcium ATPase. Now, calcium ATPase is a special enzyme that, as I said, helps move calcium ions from one place in the body to another as needed in order to help make chemical reactions to happen. I'm not having any success at all at moving the slides, so if I could ask you to move forward one screen, please. Somebody? Elena? Thank you. So we created Restor Silver to stimulate the production of calcium ATPase. If you'll move it one more slide, we'll talk about the science of how that works. Thank you. When we began looking at what was going on in Knut's little body, one of the major things that we noticed is that he just had very poor muscle strength, and just would become exhausted almost immediately as he tried to move his little body around, or even just to try to turn over. And so we knew that one of the issues that we were dealing with was something involving muscles, and that was the first clue that allowed us to begin looking and ultimately find this enzyme, calcium ATPase. So we'll talk a little bit about the different kinds of muscles and how calcium ATPase works in the muscles. So in all of our bodies, we have three different kinds of muscle fibers. The first and by far and away the biggest quantity of muscle in our bodies is skeletal muscles. It's the muscles that attach from bone to bone and help us to move our bodies through space and to do work and to do play. The second type of muscle is called smooth muscle. These are special muscle fibers that line our our digestive tract, and they line our blood vessels. So they line tubular structures to help move something along, whether it be blood or the food that we've eaten. And then the third type of muscle is a special blend of those two types of muscles with some variation, and it's cardiac muscle, or our heart muscle. And that's just a fantastic muscle that we'll talk about in just a minute. So in each of these types of muscles, calcium ATPase performs a very critical role in the process of contraction and relaxation of the muscles. Well, when a muscle contracts, there's a signal that comes from the brain and the nervous system down to the point of interaction at the end plate of the nerve, right on the muscle fiber, and there's the signal causes the release of a bunch of calcium ions into the body of the muscle fiber, and those calcium ions attach to receptor sites that cause that muscle fiber to contract. That's a fantastic thing. It allows us to create motion, but if we don't have some way of then allowing that muscle fiber to release, that contraction to release, then it's sort of a one and done thing. We have to be able to release that muscle contraction and allow the muscle fiber to relax in order to be able to then do that same work again. And that's where calcium ATPase comes in. So the muscle fiber is contracted, and in order for it to release that contraction and then be prepared to contract again, these calcium ATPase enzymes gather up all of those calcium ions and put them back into storage so that the fiber can relax and so that it can be ready to contract again. And it happens that way in our skeletal muscles to help us move, and it happens that way in our smooth muscles to help us be able to move our blood along in the blood vessels and to move our food throughout our digestive tract, and also to be able to move fluid out of our bladder, and also to hold fluid in our bladder. So those are just some of the things that that happen, all because this calcium ATPase enzyme is able to do what it does. And so the way that happens is that the calcium ATPase actually works as an ion pump. You've heard me say in the name of this enzyme several times the term ATP. The ATP molecule is the energy molecule that our systems run on in the body, and so this enzyme uses the energy from that ATP molecule to gather up those calcium ions and move them from where they are to where they need to be next for the next chemical reaction. This regulation of calcium ion location is just absolutely critical to the health and the function of our cells. When the levels of these calcium ions are optimal inside and outside of the cell, then our health is ideal because everything is available, ready to go to move and function properly. When we get out of balance, when those levels are not what they should be in a certain location, that's when we begin to see the kinds of things that we see in the aging process and in fatigue. We begin to see trouble sleeping, increased fatigue in our muscles. Many people experience an overactive bladder and joint pain and muscle pain. And And the reason that we begin to, one of the reasons that we begin to experience those kind of things is that when we reach a certain age, which for men is about age 25, and for women is on average at about age 30, we begin to produce less and less of these calcium ATPase enzymes in our body, and we produce less the older that we get. The other way that we produce less of this is any time, regardless of age, that we find ourselves under stress, whether that stress is internal, whether we're just worrying and fearful, or whether we're physically stressed because of overuse of our bodies, either through too much exercise or too much work, or also because of external issues, because of environmental toxins, and we'll talk about those types of things in a minute. And finally, on this slide, I want to talk about the fact that that key botanical ingredient that we discovered is able to stimulate our bodies to produce more of this critical enzyme is an extract of the jasmine flower called methyl jasmonate. And so we'll talk about each of the ingredients in just a moment. But critical to understand that what this does, what the Restore Silver and Vital formulations do, is stimulate, give the body what it needs, and stimulates the body to produce more of this enzyme. This is not a bottle full of calcium ATPase enzyme. This is actually what the body wants and needs to be able to produce it on its own, which is a much better way to go. So this is a product that has very few ingredients. I love it in its simplicity. It is just so powerful, partly because of its simplicity. The key ingredients in Restore Silver are, of course, as a foundation, incredibly pure water. And then as a carrying agent, we chose vegetable glycerin. We did that rather than use alcohol because it is more readily used by the body than an alcohol carrier is, and the vegetable glycerin actually is a source of energy itself, so it just gives the body a little bit of extra energy and boost to be able to help deliver the rest of the key ingredients and for the body to assimilate them. As I mentioned, the key to the kingdom, the key ingredient in this whole process is a product called methyl jasmonate. It's an extract of the jasmine flower, and it is it's a beautiful process that causes that extract to be highly concentrated. Just to pause for a moment to tell you how concentrated this is. I know I mentioned this when I was with you in Gothenburg. In one dose of the Restore Silver or the Restore Vital, the methyl jasmonate amount in one dose is the equivalent of you taking and drinking 1,000 cups of jasmine tea. So at that level of intense concentration, we get this therapeutic dose that is both stimulating and nutritionally serving the body so that it can create of this enzyme. And then lastly, we have a couple of really important amino acids and amino acid precursors. Those are taurine, which helps our bones and our muscles and works synergistically with the jasmine extract, and L-arginine. And I know that many of you are familiar with L-arginine in the Allura and Velura products, and know how profoundly powerful it is in helping improve circulation in our bodies. The L-arginine in the Restore products works in the same way to improve circulation and to play a key role in stimulating part of a process called the nitric oxide cycle, which helps with assimilation, absorption, and delivery of these important ingredients right down to the cellular level. So we've talked about the science of how this stuff works, but let's talk now more specifically about the beneficial effects of keeping these calcium ATPase levels high in our bodies. One thing that I mentioned before is that many of us, as these calcium ATPase levels decline, will experience some urgency with our bladders. We'll have to get up an extra time or two during the night to go to the bathroom, or we're out and about and we really just feel an urgent need to go to the bathroom, and not very confident in our capacity to be able to hold that fluid back until we get to a restroom. So by stimulating calcium ATPase levels and causing them to be higher, we restore our body's ability to have enough power in the smooth muscles of the bladder to hold that fluid comfortably and confidently until we either wake up in the morning or we find it convenient to use a restroom while we're out and about. Higher levels of calcium ATPase are also quite beneficial to our sleep. When our levels are high, we find that we're able to sleep more deeply. Our muscles are able to relax more completely, so we're able to have more profound and comfortable sleep, and we wake up feeling much more rested and confident. And the chemistry on that is that calcium ATPase is a critical part of the production of a hormone that many of you have heard of called melatonin. That's made in a gland, the pineal gland in our bodies, and it helps us to regulate and produce that better, so that we're able to optimize sleep. Calcium ATPase also has the ability to pull inflammation down in our bodies, because it is a key in a special type of cell called a mast cell in our immune systems, and when those things are working properly, our inflammation levels come nicely down in our muscle tissues and in our joints, and so we just have greater freedom of movement. And finally, with muscles, I'll just give you an example. Let's say, just for ease of thinking about this, that when we're at our peak, so for a man that would be 25, let's say we have 10 of these enzymes available to a muscle fiber, which means in effect that we can do 10 muscle contraction and relaxation repetitions before we run out of the enzyme and we start to experience fatigue. Well, as we age, perhaps we're only able to produce 6 or 7 of those calcium ATP enzymes for our muscle fiber, and so now we can only do 6 or 7 muscle contractions and relaxation cycles before we get tired. So we get tired more quickly, and it takes us longer to recover from that fatigue before we can get up and go again. When we increase our calcium ATPase levels in our bodies, then we have more of those enzymes available to our muscles, so we're able to, again, go longer, do more work, do more play before we get tired and have to rest and recuperate. And when there is more of the enzyme available, we also recover more quickly. We restock that supply more quickly, so we're able to get back to work faster, or get back to play faster. Just in the instance of athletes, that means you can train harder and longer and then get back to your training routine more quickly because you've been able to recover more quickly from that exercise. Okay, next slide, please. So I want to talk about how best to use this product. The thing that we want to remember is that the product dose is a dropper full, which is about a milliliter, and we want to take the standard dosing is 1 to 2 milliliters per day. Typically taken a dose in the morning and a dose in the evening. This is just to describe the flavor of this for folks that haven't had the opportunity to taste it yet. It's got a nice, sweet, floral flavor to it. It's very easy to take this product directly into the mouth. That's how I use it, and how most of my patients use it, and many members use it, is just to squirt it directly in your mouth. If you don't particularly care for something that's kind of sweet, then you can dilute it by putting it into 4 to 6 ounces of water and just drinking the water right down. You always want to make sure that you're getting optimal results. You want to shake the bottle well before you take that. I'll tell you, and I'll repeat it again when we talk about the Vital, I really want to encourage new users to take the 2 droppers full twice a day rather than 1 dropper full twice a day. It gets the body going. It kind of gives it a supercharge to get you started, so that you can really experience the benefits of this product and what it can do to help your body just function so much more beautifully. We'll talk about that a little bit more in just a moment. So let's move to the next slide, and we'll talk about how we decided to make a second formulation called Restor Vital. I'll pause to just say how delightful it is to be working in partnership with NHT on this, which really means being in partnership with each of you as members. And so, as scientists, it's critically important to us that we get feedback and understand how the product is working, and how people are experiencing using the product, what it's doing for them, things that we didn't necessarily study when we were doing the clinical work and the development of the product. We hear more and more about that, and so we'd have the product. We'd had Restor Silver on the market for a couple of years, and many members were giving us feedback, telling us how wonderfully it was working for them, and asking us questions about different ways to use the product with specific populations. From the China market, we got lots and lots of questions about how the members could help their children deal with the stresses of studying, that their school efforts are so competitive there to try and get into the best high schools and colleges in order to excel and find a good place in society. Education is just critically important for that. And so, how could we use Restor to help them with the stresses of those studies and with the fatigue that was brought on by those studies. And we began looking at that, and kind of right under that in terms of the quantity of questions and comments was about once people had successfully gotten through school and were now out in the workplace, and that was also very competitive, and the stresses of the workplace and the need for greater focus in order to do well there caused Grundy and I to begin to think that perhaps a second formulation might create this this beautiful 1-2 punch in products that would help resolve all of these issues. And so we went back to the formulary, back to the lab, and began looking for ingredients that would help us accomplish that in addition to the original formulation. And the result of that was that we created Restor Vital to address those additional energy demands, stress reduction demands, and greater demands for clarity and focus of thought while staying on task. And so we created this product with the same original 6 ingredients in the Restor Silver formulation, plus an additional 3 ingredients to specifically address this more active, dynamic lifestyle and stress. So just as we talked about in the when we're talking about silver, we're going after the same thing. We want to stimulate the body to produce more calcium ATPase, but we recognize that that when the body is under stress, this chemistry behaves differently, and so we were looking for a second ingredient that would stimulate the body to produce calcium ATPase, but to do that in the face of the different chemistry that's caused by stress. And so our same goals were here to improve calcium ATPase production and therefore achieve optimal vitality, and we accomplished that goal beautifully. Let's see if we can move this again into the next slide. And so, what were our goals for Restor Vital? We wanted to support the body in response to these additional stressors, and in order to do that, we needed to give the body some additional help with the stress. So we wanted to address this different chemistry and help it to be able to produce more calcium ATPase. We wanted to make sure that we were able to help ourselves to stay well focused and to improve our mental clarity that begins to get foggy once we start dealing with fatigue and stress. And we wanted to also just be able to boost the body energetically, just give it some baseline more energy to be able to accomplish that. And we settled on 3 ingredients to help do that in addition to the base formulation. Next slide, please. And those 3 new ingredients are an extract of the ginger root called gingerol, a green tea extract called EGCG, and then a very special complex sugar called D-ribose. And I want to talk about each one of those for just a minute. So just like the methyl jasmonate, the gingerol is phenomenal in its ability to stimulate the body's production of calcium ATPase. The critical difference with the gingerol is that its chemistry is such that it helps the body do that when the body is experiencing stress, and so this met our needs perfectly, and it was a fantastic synergist to the methyl jasmonate in providing a broad way of helping the body to produce more of this key enzyme. In addition to its calcium ATPase stimulating ability, ginger has a long and exalted history of being able to protect and improve digestive function, and we all know that when we get very busy, our lives are hectic and under stress, we tend to eat less well. We are more likely to opt for fast food or just grabbing something that is a less complete nutrition profile meal. And so the gingerol does double duty as also helping improve our digestion and help us in that way. And it also is a phenomenal immune system support and antioxidant. So it really helps us to deal with the byproducts of stress in our bodies, these antioxidants that begin to build up the more and more stress we're under, and to deal with stressors from the outside by way of toxins, and we'll talk about that more in just a moment. Green tea extract, and specifically EGCG green tea extract, has marvelous capacity to help us improve our clarity, improve our focus, gives us just a little bit of an energy boost. It is just as wonderful in a different way about helping to protect and improve our immune system function. Works also as a powerful antioxidant and works beautifully and synergistically with ginger to have a nice double effect to improve our antioxidant capabilities. The two together and separately also are being studied extensively all across the world for their anti-tumor and helpful support in the face of cancer. So, much wonderful study is happening there. The general lifting up that you get for your immune system with the inclusion of these two in the product is just delightful. The final additional ingredient that I want to talk about is this complex sugar called D-ribose. D-ribose is used by the body in a variety of ways. One of the wonderful ways is that the mitochondria in our cells, inside the cells, whose principal role is to create this ATP energy molecule that we talked about earlier. Those mitochondria use the D-ribose molecule in the process of creating this ATP energy molecule, and so it's a lovely boost to that process. It's very readily absorbed into the system and can be used almost immediately as a way to boost energy. A legal way to do that. Anybody listening that's an athlete that has to be concerned about the types of nutritional products that they're utilizing, there's no issue with using the Restor Vital and having the D-ribose there. it's a nice, safe, and legal energy boost. Also, the body uses this D-ribose special crystalline sugar molecule when it is creating DNA and RNA. And so one of the things that we hope to do anytime we're feeding our body good nutrition is to give it what it needs to be able to function optimally when it's replacing cells. And so this has the added benefit of providing beneficial resources for that. So just to review the key benefits, we really see a marked improvement in mental clarity and focus. As we talked about, the green tea extract helps us with that. Really improves the ability to stay on task, to accomplish our goals with speed and dispatch, and feel good about stepping away from a project when we complete it. We'll get a nice boost to athletic performance with the D-ribose being there, and the beneficial effects of even under stress, the stress of athletic performance, being able to, even as we're using them up, to produce more of the calcium ATPase enzyme with the addition of the gingerol, and the gingerol and the green tea extract working hand in hand to really dramatically improve our antioxidant protection and to help fight off the effects of the byproducts of our internal chemistry, as well as the effects of what's happening in our environment with pollution of our air, pollution of our water, the things that we take into our body that aren't optimal because of pollution, even our food supply, which has less and less nutrition in it from our industrial food supplies, and might potentially be carrying some residual from the use of pesticides and that sort of thing. All of those external sources of toxins have a very specific load on our bodies, and one of the things that we've learned through lots of studies is that a consistent way that these various types of toxins affect our body is that all of them suppress our ability to manufacture this calcium ATPase enzyme. So when you read about and hear about and experience yourself the kinds of effects of toxic exposure, one of them is always fatigue, and that is a direct result of the suppression of our body's ability to produce this important enzyme. So we really do ourselves a great service when we feed our body the nutrition that it needs and the specific resources it needs to stimulate the production of our calcium ATPase levels, so we take them back up to more optimal levels and get to enjoy all of the benefits that we've talked about of improved sleep, improved muscle function, improved bladder function, reduced joint and muscle pain, increased ability to focus, better ability to use ourselves, whether athletically or physically in work or play. All of these benefits are derived by taking care to feed ourselves the specific nutrition that we need to be able to produce this important enzyme. We're going to take the Restor Vital in exactly the same way. The standard dosing is 1 to 2 milliliters, just as with the Restor Silver. We want to make sure that we shake the bottle up well to make sure that we're getting those ingredients all in the dose. Now, I will tell you that the Restor Vital, because of the ginger and the green tea, is a much spicier flavor profile than the Restor Silver is. Some folks find that is spicy enough that they want to dilute it a little bit, and so we'll put it in the 4 to 6 ounces of water in order to take that. Other people, just like with the Restor Silver, find that an interesting flavor profile and squirt it directly in their mouth. I do that as well. So that's the way you take it. Just as with the Restor Silver, I will encourage you to begin using this product, taking 2 milliliters in the morning and 2 milliliters in the evening, and that way really give your body the opportunity to have that initial loading dose to really get kick-started and experience all of the great benefits that are had with using the Restor products on a continuous basis and seeing an upward trajectory in your health and well-being and the health and well-being of all of the members of your family. So that's those are the two separate products. I want to talk for just a minute because I get this question so often when I make these presentations. I want to talk about which product. I'm always asked, okay, Doc, you've got these two great products. Which product is best for me? And I smile and say both. It's both products. Both products are best for you. The great way to use these products is to use both of them. Restor Vital has that really nice stimulating effect, and so lots and lots of people will use the Restor Vital in the morning for their morning doses, and then use the Restor Silver at night because it doesn't have the stimulation from the green tea extract, and so they find it easier to use it in that combination, make it easier to be able to fall asleep at night. I'll tell you that I have some people that use Vital exclusively and don't have any problem going to sleep at night using just the Restor Vital. I have others that just because that flavor profile of the Restor Vital is so strong, they really just find that they use Restor Silver exclusively and it works beautifully for them. In either instance, I want you to begin by using sort of a double of the standard dose. Do 2 droppers full in the morning and 2 droppers full at night. I'll encourage you to try the combination of using Vital in the morning and Silver at night because I think you'll find that it just works so beautifully for you. So that's my talk on just the 2 Restor products. It's very important to me to take just a couple more minutes to talk about how these products fit into the larger picture of the NHT wellness line, and it gives me another opportunity to talk about what a great company NHT is. You know, it's a fine thing and an important thing that NHT seeks out great scientists who develop great products, and I like to think that I number among those, and that each of the great products in the NHT wellness line are developed in the same way. What I think sets NHT apart from some other companies who make good products as well is that it is a founding tenet and philosophy in NHT's thinking that that all of the scientists are talking to each other about how these products interact with the other products in the NHT wellness line. So we conscientiously look at the chemistry to make sure that that these Restore products are working beautifully with the glucosamine 2200 and the omega-3 and the stem renew and the noni, and so we really delve into the chemistry to make sure that we're not going to have something that's either going to neutralize the effectiveness of one of the other products, or even have a negative effect. And I'm just pleased to report that we do that thoroughly and conscientiously, and that Restor Vital, because of the way it works and because of the fact that that it improves the function of every single cell in the body by regulating calcium signaling in that cell. The net effect of that is that when the individual cell works better, then the tissue that cell's a part of works better, which means the organs and the systems that those cells are a part of work better. And what that means, just in practical terms for you, when you're taking Restore and you're also taking Noni, is that using Restore will improve digestion and improve delivery of all of the great nutrients in the Noni right down to the cellular level. It improves the receptors in the cell membrane that pulls all of that great nutrition in the Noni right inside the cell, and it improves the chemistry and the signaling inside the cell so that the cell is better able to perform its tasks using all of the great nutrients from the Noni or the other NHT products. So using the Restore Silver and the Restore Vital with any of the other products in the NHT wellness line means that product is going to work even better, and essentially true in the reverse, that if you're using Noni regularly, it means that the Restore products are going to work even that much better, because they're being taken into a system that's already functioning at a higher level because you're using the other great product. So that's my spiel. That's what I want you to understand and appreciate about the Restore products specifically, and the entire wellness line of NHT. And I'll just say again, NHT is a phenomenal business. The leadership is excellent. The philosophy is excellent. And as a clinical doctor for 35 years, I can tell you that I've had exposure to lots and lots of entire lines of wellness product, and use lots of different wellness products over the years. But comprehensively, the NHT wellness line, ever since I became associated with NHT, is what I've used in my clinic to great effect and with absolute confidence. And so I want to encourage you to be that confident about using these products to improve your own health, to improve the health of your family, and to use them as tools in your business to help you grow your business. It makes it so easy when you can be so confident to talk with somebody when they ask you, "Good Lord, Helena, you look so beautiful. What's going on? What are you doing differently from when I saw you 2 years ago?" And you can just say, "Well, I'd love to have the opportunity to tell you about that. Here we go." And you can have that confidence because these products are going to do that for you. thank you for letting me share this knowledge with you, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have uh, as a result of my conversation.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wilson. And we're going to open up for questions. So I'm just going to talk in Swedish for a little while.
Okay.
Så är det någon som har någon fråga, då har ni en liten markör som är på vänster sida om, ja, vad man nu ska kalla det här. Ni har i alla fall en liten markör som ser ut som handen upp. Antingen trycker ni på den eller så ställer ni frågan där det står question. Om ni har en fråga så ser Dr. Lyle Wilson det och kan svara med en gång. Så några frågor. In the meantime, while they're writing their question, I have a question.
Okay.
I was using both of the products, and I probably took a little bit too much because I really loved the flavor of it. So I took like 6 or 7, you know, these pipettes.
Yes.
Of each of them, so I had like 12 or something a day.
Wow! Yeah.
Yeah. But the thing that happened was that my muscles really got tensed, and it felt like I've been doing exercise for, you know, like the whole day before, and also I got some cramp in my heart. Could you explain this? Do you know how that? I reduced it and it disappeared, so it's not a problem anymore. But do you know why that happened?
Yeah, it really happens as a result of specifically of using a little bit too much of that green tea extract. Just like the concentration that I talked about the jasmine flower extract, that EGCG is really concentrated. It's like
what's EGCG? Which is that the jasmine extract?
No, it's the green tea extract.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And so that has a effect when you get a little too much of it, of doing just the things that you described, and you resolved it just as I would have advised you to. Just go back to taking less, and that will clear up immediately. And you know, I'm a big fan of using additional amounts to accomplish specific things for a short term, but that double dose that I encourage everybody to do to get started with the product is often plenty as an additional dose. You know, the exceptions are. When I was in Ireland the next week after I was with you all in Gothenburg, there was an Olympic athlete there, and we talked specifically about using 6 to 8 droppers full a day. But not 12. So, but you know, but specifically, and specific with her training regimen. So, for most people, the total of 4 droppers full a day in any combination is a really great level that's going to give you really great results and accomplish what you want to accomplish.
Okay, so the thing that happened to me is just something that just go back to normal dose, and that disappears, because it did for me, but that's the only way to do it. You shouldn't overdose it.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Then we got some questions here. I don't know if you see them, but we have one from Urian who says, Dr. Lyle, can you guarantee that Restor products do not conflict with the WADA rules? Do you know what? I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, that's I will tell you that we have not specifically gotten the certification in the EU. We have gotten the certification in China. And I can check into it, but none.
Could you please explain what that is? WADA.
the rules as far as substances for athletes, competitive athletes.
Oh, okay, like what is that called? Like
Olympics and
doped or
yeah,
yeah, okay, like doping material.
like the
Yeah.
anti-doping. Yeah,
Oh, okay, I see. So we
world
have that
anti-doping.
In China, it's fine. That's classified as
Yeah,
non-doping, but Europe is not
yes,
yet
that's correct.
registered.
And I haven't. Well, actually, yeah. I mean, we did it specifically with the country, but we haven't done it with the world anti-doping. But none of the individual ingredients are on the banned list, and so so I can't guarantee it with a certificate, but I can guarantee it with my word.
Ja, okej. Örjan, om du är nöjd med det svaret så säg bara ja, annars så öppnar jag upp så får du fråga mer. Okay, and then the next question is, should it be for drops or for milliliter a day? You know this, you're not calling it drops, it's called something else, the little,
Yeah,
the thing that,
what I've been saying is dropper full.
yeah, and dropper is the actual like thing that you're getting from the thing like the how do you say that, the actual screw off, and then you have this
Yeah, the whole
glass
tube that's
stuff.
inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Should it be one full or half? Because when you use it, you actually get half, or should it be one full?
Yeah, it's really the milliliter. So if you double bump the little squeeze the
Right.
squeeze bulb at the top, if you squeeze it quickly in succession 2 times, then it gets it pretty close up to the 1 milliliter mark. But if you're only drawing up a half a milliliter, then you need to then what you're after is to get 2 milliliters, which would take 4 of those half-milliliter draws. Does that make
Okay,
sense?
but one dripper is about 1 milliliter. Is that correct?
Yeah, ideally
A full one.
one dropper full is the equivalent of 1 milliliter, and if you're
One
not
dropper
getting
full,
that
okay.
much, then you need to adjust accordingly. Yeah.
Okay, I'm just going to translate this to Swedish.
Sure. Yeah.
Så vad man tar är en full pimpett motsvarar 1 milliliter. Och om du bara får upp en halv så behöver du ta det 2 gånger. Det motsvarar då 1 milliliter. Så 2 sådana är alltså 1 milliliter. Om du inte lyckas få upp en helt full med en gång. Så Elisabeth, om det gav svar på frågan, jättebra. Om inte så ställ frågan igen så öppnar jag upp så får du prata själv. Okay, then we have another question. How does it work with children with ADHD and autism?
I will tell you that I find that it works beautifully, and I've had several kids on the spectrum in my practice over the time that we've had Restore available, and my son has ADHD, and it works quite nicely to really balance underlying chemistry. It's not an immediate fix, but as you continue to use it, you just see ongoing improvement with ADHD. With respect to the folks on the autism spectrum, again, and we're balancing chemistry. One of the things that I didn't talk about in this presentation is that one other thing that we see, one other area that we see improvement in is neurotransmitter chemistry, and the balancing of the production of those neurotransmitters in the brain, and the effect of that is just a greater ease is the easiest thing to describe and see with the kids on the autism spectrum. Is there's just a greater calm and willingness to interact, I'd say.
Are you still there, Dr. Lyle? I can't hear you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that was what I needed to say.
Oh, okay, cool. Then there is another question, and it is if let's see, if you have heard of anyone who has psoriasis taking these restores, and if you do you have any results from it?
I've certainly not done any studies with respect to Restor and psoriasis. There's going to be improvements to circulation. There's going to be improvements to cell function in the skin and subdermal layers and in the connective tissue just deep to that. I haven't had any feedback from anybody else, and I haven't had anybody in my practice with a psoriasis condition to know whether or not there's any notable effect. That's one that I don't have an answer for, other than the fact that I think because there is overall improvement in tissue function, hormone balance, and circulation, that I think that the underlying triggers for a psoriatic outbreak are probably going to be moderated in a way that you might see some improvement.
Okay, and there is another question. Thank you. And there is another question about MS. I don't know if it's the same word in English, like muscular something. Yeah, you probably know what I'm talking about.
MS is make sure that we're talking about multiple sclerosis.
Yeah, yes, correct.
Okay. Mixed feedback on MS patients using Restor long term, and when I say mixed, I'm saying that that I've had I'll just count back six different MS patients use Restor, and three of them have experienced some benefit, and the other three no benefit, no discernible benefit. It's a different type of signaling that is affected with MS than the signaling improvements that you get with calcium ATPase. Certainly, there's the skeletal muscular component and the fatigue. There's a possibility for some relief from and an easing up of the muscular component of the multiple sclerosis, but there's been no clinical trials, and so it's just my suggestion is to try it, and if you see improvement, then continue to use it. If you don't see and get any feedback or sense of improvement in 60 to 90 days, then I'd say discontinue it.
Oh, okay, cool, thanks. I don't see any more questions, but I know there is someone who's asking about triotine, which is, we have this nurse in the US who says that you should take triotine by itself for 10 days, and then you could start with other products. Do you have an idea if it's okay to take the silver or the vital together with the triotine the first 10 days, or should you wait?
I don't. I've really looked at that clinically. did a little test with some willing folks in my practice, and also just looked at it from a chemistry standpoint. I'd say that Restore is probably the exception to that general rule. I don't see anything from a chemistry perspective that would suggest that you need to wait. So so if you have a reason to be taking the triatine and you're already taking the Restore, continue taking the Restore. I would suspend use of other things, because there are nutritional supplements that can interfere with the absorption until you get the GSH production improvement going in the cells with the triatine. Then it's best to adhere to that rule. The exception is Restore, because it's going to actually help improve the assimilation of the triatine.
Okay, cool. And now we got another question. It's how does it work together with, or if you have fibromyalgia?
Fibromyalgia?
Yes.
Works beautifully. So one of the here are a couple of different ways to look at this. One way is that one of the big contributing factors to fibromyalgia is that there is a higher state of generalized tissue inflammation in the whole body with fibromyalgia, and so by using the Restore products, you're going to see a generalized reduction in that tissue inflammation. And so by lowering the tissue inflammation, you're really giving the body more reserve and more capacity to deal with all of the other things that are going on with the fibromyalgia. The other thing that happens, of course, with fibromyalgia is because of the pain, you have a greater level of muscle tone just as a base. We respond to pain by toning up, firing up muscles to kind of hold ourselves so that we won't move in a way that will cause more pain. And these near constant partial states of contraction create and contribute to the fatigue that is experienced with fibromyalgia. With using Restore to increase the level of calcium ATPase, we're able to actually allow those muscles to relax, taking down the kind of vicious cycle of pain and in combination, the combination of dropping that tissue inflammation level down and being able to relax those muscles, you just get a nice pretty immediate benefit with fibromyalgia with Restore. The other, and then of course long term, what you get is just better tissue function across the board. So greater circulation, which leads to better lymphatic flow through the body, which means you're able to clear out the cellular waste products that also irritate and inflame and contribute to the fibromyalgia. So I will encourage anybody who's experiencing fibromyalgia to use it. Plan on using it long term. You're gonna see some benefits pretty soon, and you're going to continue to see improvement over time.
Right. I remember you were telling us in Gothenburg that they should take, whoever is like trying it, they should take it for at least 120 days. Is that correct?
Yeah,
the same for them?
Yeah. So I'll give you the philosophy behind that as an answer. the life cycle of our red blood cells is 120 days. And so if you commit to taking any nutritional supplement that you take, not just Restore, but anything that you take, if you'll commit to taking it for 120 days, what happens then is that as the old red blood cells die off and get replaced by new ones, all of those replacement cells are being created in the presence of this this good nutritional supplement and all of the benefits that it presents. And so by the time you've taken anything for 120 days, all of the cells, not just the red blood cells, but certainly all of the red blood cells, but every single cell in your body that has been made new in that 4-month period has been made in the presence of this greater nutritional capacity that's available because you've been taking the Restore. So you really you see some good incremental improvement. Sometimes you're going to see some improvement in some facets in as little as a week. Certainly with sleep in the first couple of weeks. With bladder improvement, you'll see it that quickly, and then continue to see more improvement going forward from there. Muscle fatigue, often that's somewhere in the 2 to 6 week kind of period, and then greater improvements from there. But if you'll commit to that minimum of 120 days, what will happen is that there's been enough overall improvement that you really now begin to just know that that this has been a great thing that you've done for yourself, and then then you're more motivated to continue using it, and the improvements that you see after the 120 days just get exponentially greater, because what you've been doing for that first 4 months is kind of cleaning up the gunk and overcoming all of the obstacles that caused you to want to take something to feel better in the first place. And so now with that gunk out of the way, any nutritional product that you're taking past the 120-day period is really going to be able to be utilized much more impressively by the body.
Okay, great, thanks. And then there is one more question, and that is about arthrosis. Is that the name of it? Arthrosis? Or, when you have this problems in your, what is it called? Is it called arthrosis? You don't know what that is, do you?
I'm not understanding the word you're using.
Oh, okay, it's another word. When you have this problem with your joints, it's called, when you have these inflammations in your joints.
Arthritis and arthrosis?
Yeah, arthritis.
Okay.
That's correct,
okay.
Yeah.
Sure. So let's talk about 2 different kinds of arthritis. And we'll begin by talking about osteoarthritis, and that is that's a type of arthritis that is a combination of a breaking down of the joint capsule and a deposition of some deposits in the joint space. Oftentimes it's calcium, but it's other minerals as well, and so there are many contributing factors to why osteoarthritis happens, but one of them is circulation, and another is poor mineral regulation, calcium regulation, phosphorus regulation, sodium regulation, that sort of thing. When you have poor regulation, then you can get deposits in the joints, and you start getting then when they're in the joint, they're just acting like sandpaper in the joint, further irritating it, and you get inflammation. So we've talked about how using Restore, because of the way that it works with the mast cells in the immune system, that we can pull inflammation down. But we've also talked about the fact that we improve circulation. So what I have seen, although again I want to say that we've not done clinical trials with this, but what I have seen over time is notable improvement with arthritis with people that will use it. Noticeable enough that they're willing to keep using it. Typically, they start noticing improvement in 45 to 60 days, and they keep using it, and you get out there about that 6-month mark, and you just notice that your joints just feel a lot better. With rheumatoid arthritis, that's an autoimmune disease, and that's the body attacking itself in the joint spaces, and that's a different thing. And I have, again, no trials to support this, but I'll tell you that my brother has awful rheumatoid arthritis, and I finally convinced him that he could use the Restore in conjunction with the drugs that he's taking for rheumatoid arthritis, and I just got him started on that about 3 months ago, and he says that he's feeling noticeably better using the Restore. So so that is the only case with rheumatoid arthritis that I can even discuss, and it's certainly just anecdotal. But it's worth a try with rheumatoid arthritis, and I would say that you definitely want to use it with osteoarthritis, because I think just because of the way it improves tissue health overall by having more calcium ATPase available, that folks with osteoarthritis are gonna feel that improvement in that way.
Okay, cool. Then I got another question. I don't know if you know what this is. It's ME. Do you know what ME is? Because I have no idea. Do you know if it helps with ME? And I got it explained as it's when you like kind of pain that you've had all day or something like that. Do you know what that is? ME? I have no idea what that is.
I don't know it by that acronym. I'm sorry.
No, of course. Så Elisabeth kan inte svara på det, för jag förstår inte vad ME är för något. Är det någon annan som fattar vad det är och vet vad det är och kan säga vad ordet betyder, så skriv det fort. Otherwise, I think that was the last question. I don't see any more questions as it is right now. I guess that was the last question. Do you have anything to add, Dr. Wilson?
Well, I just want to say again how appreciative I am of everybody taking time out of their evening schedules to spend it with me, and that I hope that I have provided you with some information in a way that you'll find helpful, and I want to reiterate that I'm always available to answer questions, and the most efficient way to do that as they arise for you is for you to email Antonella, and she will get those questions to me, and I'll respond to them as quickly as my schedule allows. I always am delighted to be available to help support you in the field, and so don't hesitate to send the questions as they come up.
Right. We really, really appreciate to have you on this call as well. I just got to know what ME is. It's chronic fatigue syndrome. So if someone has chronic
okay.
fatigue.
Okay. then absolutely, I think that you will find beneficial results from using Restore Vital and Silver for all of the reasons that I talked to you about with respect to how it improves muscle function, both from a strength and an endurance and a recovery standpoint. And then all of the things that I talked about when I was talking about fibromyalgia, because there's such an overlap of symptoms and effects with those two, with chronic fatigue syndrome and with fibromyalgia, that the way that it helps with the fibromyalgia is also the way that it helps with all of those symptom overlaps with chronic fatigue. So I think you'll find it helpful to add Restore to your supplementation protocol, and that you'll experience good benefits.
Okay, thank you so much. And I guess that is the last question. And I really want to thank you for taking your time and giving us all this great information. And we are so thankful, and I'm sure I'm speaking for all of us here in Sweden. So thank you so much, Dr. Wilson.
You're welcome. You're welcome. It's been my pleasure.
Thank you so much, and hope to see you soon again. And yes, thank you so much. Okay, and with that I'm gonna say good night to everyone, and tack så jättemycket för att ni alla lyssnade, och vi hörs förhoppningsvis väldigt snart igen. På lördag har vi en stor dag med Thomas Knappek som kommer hela vägen ifrån Tjeckien för att hjälpa oss med våran framgång här. Han är den som har startat upp NHT i Ryssland, och det ska bli en ära att få hit honom och lyssna på vad han har att lära oss. Så har ni inte redan bokat in det, så gör det. Det är 10.00 till 17.00 på Nordengården här i Göteborg, Stockholmsgatan. Kommer bli helt fantastisk. Så tusen tack allesammans, och med det så tackar Carina, Dr. Wilson och jag för ikväll. Så tack så hemskt mycket allihopa. Ha det gott, hej!